what up? Welcome to Mo Boxing No Problem. I'm Jose Ramirez Jr. and I'm joined with pro boxer at San Jose, California, Andy Vences. How's it going, Andy?
It's going good. It's going good. How's it going?
It's going well. I know the last time we caught up was at the Paco Presents card at the Cash Creek, so it's been a
Yeah,
minute.
yeah, yeah. It's been a minute. Appreciate you for having me on, Jose. Really means a lot. But
No, no.
yeah, last time I saw you was at the Paco Presents. We were watching those fights. It was a good night of fights. Good night for Allen.
Yeah, great night for Allen. He got the W, and I'm definitely excited to have you back on because we want to start talking about your upcoming fight on February 18th. But before we get there, I just want to kind of take it way back and tell the listeners how you got into boxing. Kind of like your origins of the sport.
Oh yeah, I got into boxing. My dad always had me active as a kid, like growing up, he put me in gymnastics when I was little. Then, you know what I mean? I wanted to try soccer. I never made a goal, so I didn't want to do that. And then my dad ended up putting me in martial arts. So I was in martial arts for a good 2 to 3 years. But what I didn't like about it was we never really like fought each other like in martial arts. It was more like practicing forms and doing stuff
hmm
like that. I love the training aspect. The training was dope though because it was practice, kicking hard, punching. But me and my dad and the family, we always used to have boxing fights, and we always used to watch the fights. Specifically, I remember at my grandma's house when Eric Morales beat Pacquiao. The family went crazy, and then I remember the fights with Oscar De La Hoya and Shane Mosley, Oscar De La Hoya versus Trinidad, Oscar De La Hoya versus Fernando Vargas. And this is when I was very young, so I didn't even know you could do boxing or like how to even join. I didn't know about anything. So one day coming out of martial arts practice, I wasn't feeling it no more. Honestly, my dad was paying a lot of money every month for me to go. So I got in the truck and I was honest to him and I told him, "Hey dad, I was wondering if I could like try boxing or I don't know how to do boxing, but I would love to learn boxing." And then he says, "You don't want to do martial arts anymore?" I said, "No, I want to fight. It's just we don't fight here. I want to fight."
hmm
And then yeah, it was there in the truck before we left the gym, right there, the martial arts gym. I remember in Sunnyvale, California. He just told me, "Hey, look, I'm gonna find you a boxing gym in San Jose, and I'm gonna enroll you in boxing. But I'm telling you right now, son, if I don't see improvement in a month, I'm taking you out of boxing because this is a sport you don't play. So if I don't see
Yeah.
improvement in 1 month, you're out." He told me like that. So obviously I took it serious, knowing like this was a sport where you could get hurt and stuff, you know. But yeah, sure enough, after 1 month of training, my dad saw that I fell in love with it. I fell in love with boxing, the dedication, the eager to train even outside of the gym, and ever since then, my dad's been like my number one support system. It's because of my dad I was able to make the decisions I made along my career in my life, and I'm very thankful for my dad. He's played a big, huge role in my life in boxing, and that's why any kid that I see with a father supporting them, I always give my respects to the father, and I say, "Hey, man, I really appreciate you for being a good dad." And they look at me all crazy, and I just said, "You know what, though? Because as a kid, all I needed was my dad to believe in me, and my dad was able to change my life. So I just want to thank you as a father, seeing you support your son. Like it's nice to see that." And then I always give every father that I see supporting their son like respect, because sometimes that's all you need is that one person to support you to just take you there, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I actually was telling my wife something that I saw on your Instagram that like kind of really touched me. Where I think you had that old bench that needed to be welded, and
Oh yeah, yep,
you obviously, I mean, you have the
yeah,
money to buy a new one, but it had a
yeah,
sentimental value to you that you went
yeah,
out of your way to get that welded and repaired. I told my wife like
yeah.
that's huge. Something it really means to you. The lengths you go to get it fixed.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That was so after my first amateur fight, the way I started going out my first amateur fight, I won my first fight, but my dad saw I was super exhausted. My conditioning wasn't at its best. So he said, "Hey son, it looks like you're not doing what you have to conditioning wise." Like, so this is the number one thing my dad told me after my first amateur fight. He said, in boxing, your conditioning has to be number one.
Hmm.
I don't care how good you are, but your conditioning needs to be number one. So he's always been very big on conditioning. So then after that first amateur fight, he would wake me up at 5 in the morning every morning to go run. So we would run 3 miles, and then we'd come back, and he taught me my whole sit-up routine on that same bench. And like, yeah, that same bench, I took it from me even when I was 21, and I got kicked out of my mom's or whatever. Um, at the time we were having problems, I took that bench to wherever I went. Every place I was moving to, I would take that sit up bench. So I would do my routine of my 3-4 miles, and I would come back and like bust out my whole ab routine. But yeah, till this day, I still do the ab routine, and I still involve it in my workout. And it's just sentimental value. The sit
Yeah.
up bench, I still have that same bench. I remember he didn't have much money. He bought it off of Craigslist for $50. Yeah,
Yeah, I still have the green Game Boy Color my dad got me for Christmas one day.
there you go. See, yeah,
Likewise,
no,
you hold
it's
on to those
just
things.
yeah. It means nothing to somebody, but like when it has a sentimental value to you, it's pretty dope. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a live comment here from K Rod. He says, "Yo," and he also says, "Salute Andy from Albany, New York, by way of Florida." He says, "My regards come from knowing Abraham Nova, PR talking about you. Hope you succeed in your career and keep rising, brother."
Oh
Absolutely.
wow,
So
Abraham Nova. I believe they offered me to fight Abraham Nova a long time ago. I believe when he was undefeated.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
he had a good performance
Yeah, he
recently against
did.
Blue
He
Nose.
did. He did. He did. He did. I just think he was I just think Adam Lopez was a little too small for the weight too.
Yeah,
I think
that's a
I
good
think
point.
Adam belongs he's 26, 126.
Yeah,
But he
for
looked
sure.
good. Honestly, he looked good considering, his last fight got knocked
Hmm.
out. Honestly, he answered a lot of questions. A lot of
Yeah,
questions.
agreed. And then Andy, how did you get the nickname El Tiburon?
So Tiburon, being from San Jose, we got the San Jose Sharks. I have a style that's I'm a boxer puncher, so they're like, hey, like a shark, like you swim in the ocean, you swim in the ring, you're boxing or whatever, and as soon as you smell blood, you go for the kill. So that's where the name of Tiburon came from. Uh, my coach at the time actually put it to me and gave me that name of Tiburon, and then I stuck with it, and that's been my ring name ever since. Coming from San Jose, it was a good fit. Andy the Tiburon Vences, so I've had it. Got the shark back here too. so,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's kind of my kind of like my theme being from San Jose, El Tiburon, and then we just stuck with that.
Great nickname.
And then
And
yeah,
then
they gave it to me I believe I was 7-0 when they gave me the ring name 7-0, and then from 7-0 to 12-0, all my fights were knockouts. So yeah, it was at the time we were rolling with it, rocking with it, and it's a good fit.
yeah, I agree. I agree. And then can you tell us about your amateur career? What were some of your major accomplishments from back then?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is motivational for every amateur kid out there who's looking to get experience, looking to get into boxing. As an amateur, I had 75 amateur fights. It's a decent amount of fights, but it's not a lot of fights. A lot of the other fighters that went pro, like Jose Ramirez, I believe he had closer to 150. Eric De Leon had, I think, about 150 at the time. These were the hot guys. Amir Imam at the time was coming up too. They had over 100 fights. Errol Spence and the Golden Gloves, he had over 100 fights. So all these top fighters at the time had over like 100 fights. I had 75 fights, but I didn't have any major accomplishments. I think that was the difference with me and a lot of people. Like I didn't really win any big tournament or nothing outstanding that would make me like a key fighter. But I
Hmm.
did fight. I did fight the top guys in the nation. I fought Jose Ramirez. I fought Eric Dillon. I fought Amir Imam at the time. Obviously, I was in competitive fights with them, but I wasn't getting the wins. But anyways, I never really won any accomplishments other than some, little title in LA, the Adidas National Tournament down there in Oxnard, and little tournaments and stuff I was winning. But yeah, when I went pro, I didn't really have an amateur background. I wasn't really an amateur standout. Um, so even when I went pro, there was a lot of word like, oh yeah, that guy Andy, yeah, he's whatever, like he's just a normal fighter, blah blah blah. And I really think no one thought I would even make it far in the pros. Um,
Hmm.
being that I didn't have such an amateur background, I wasn't really anybody. Um, so yeah, that was just me learning on the job. Obviously, I started boxing a little late. I went to the boxing gym at 14. My first fight was about 14. My second fight was about 15. So I really started fighting at 15 years old. I know a lot of other amateur fighters start at 8 years old, and
Yeah.
they had a big lead above me. But yeah, that just comes to show, like in boxing, like if you're dedicated and you work hard, like it don't matter as long as you want it. We've heard stories of Sergio Martinez who started so late in boxing and became a world champion. So like I've always learned to ignore people and just like work hard, and it's all good. Like even right now with me having 4 losses, I know there's a lot of talk like, oh, that guy lost against this guy, lost against that guy. But you know what? You got to learn to block out the noise and just do you. You got to do things for yourself, and just always do things for yourself. Even like yourself starting your own channel. I started my own YouTube channel, like, and I just always just do things because I want to do it. Share my
Yeah.
story and
Yeah, it's definitely inspirational because there isn't just one blueprint for success. Like you don't, to your point, have to start amateur super early. You don't need to get the 100+ fights. You don't have to win the glamour tournaments. You can still
yeah,
become a
no,
world champ.
no, no. Nipsey Hussle says it best. You measure your success by how many people you bless and you change, like off
Mm,
of your actions, like. So if you've impacted someone and changed their life because they've seen you do it, then that's already reaching success. Like so
yeah,
success comes in different ways, but basically you measure success on how many people you're able to bless along the way. So
yeah, no, that's well said. And then a comment here from K Rod says, Amir Iman was a beast back then. I wish he continues his career more. He's from area in Albany, New York, along with Nova. Good talents, rising developmentally.
yeah,
Yeah, he was a beast.
I think Amir Iman was a great fighter. It just I think a lot of it had to play with management too. I know he had got out of his deal with Don King at the time, and that's what a lot of people don't understand too. A lot of it's managers, promoters, and dealing with all this stuff. Even for me, having to officially kind of break ties with Top Rank, and I'm finally getting like a comeback fight that'll actually um, be able to give me momentum to like move forward. Everyone has to see. Usually, after a boxer loses a fight, they get like a tune-up fight and then they get another big fight. But I was fighting the best fighter, the best fighter, the best fighter. I was never giving myself a chance to like come back and then make a jump, or come back again and then make a jump. I was just fighting the best, the best, the best. But I realized like I need to just I already know I'm not afraid to fight. I'll fight anybody, but I need to give myself a chance in boxing. I think one thing that was affecting me was ring activity, and it's not an excuse, but being out of the
Mm,
ring for a year and a half, and then being out of the ring for over a year again, it was just catching up to me. I used to be fight every 3 to 4 months when I was signed to Top Rank at the time, so that's what I'm going to do right now. I plan to fight in February, and if things go good, I plan to fight in June, and then I plan to take a big fight and make a step up. But yeah, it's not about. I don't think it's about if us as fighters are willing to take the fights or not. I think it's all about like for me specifically. I think it's about me getting momentum back and then taking a fight again. I'm back with one of the trainers I had the most success with, which is Angel Cordon. He's right here in Martinez, California, out in Concord, and he's a great coach, man. I mean, I feel sharper, just like I was before, pinpoint accuracy, and I'm very well prepared for this fight, so I'm excited.
yeah, and to your point, if we really look at the resume, you lost 3 in a row, but if you look at who you lost to, Luis Alberto Lopez El Venado, who just became a world champion, has won 7 in a row.
Yeah.
Jonah Carroll hasn't lost since, and then Henry LeBron. I had another Puerto Rican fighter on here saying he's the best up and coming Puerto Rican prospect, could be a star.
Yeah, he's bad.
So
He's really good. His timing was good. I think Albert Bell hasn't lost since I fought him. Bernardo hasn't
mhm.
lost since I fought him. Carroll's undefeated. LeBron hasn't lost either. So I
Mhm.
think that's what allows me to go forward too with boxing is I'm very realistic with myself. Like, is the end of my career near? I would say it is, right? But I kind of when I was evaluating things after my loss and looking at things, I was like, you know what though? Like everyone I fought though, they haven't lost ever since I fought them. So like, why should I stop? Like obviously, I've had some downfalls, but I just feel like a lot of other fighters have told me they wish they were in my position. So I just want to keep going because I know a lot of fighters wish they were in my position, so there's no reason for me to stop now. Like it's all good, things happen. Like everyone has a different path to success, but I really feel like I fought some of the best fighters in my division that still haven't lost. So I want to
Mhm.
just keep going, see what else I can do.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, you're gonna be back on February, February 18th at the Cow Palace in San Francisco. I saw that you haven't fought in San Francisco since 2014. So how does
Oh
it
yeah,
feel?
yeah, I did fight in San Francisco though. You're right at the
Yeah,
Longshoremen's Hall. Yeah.
how does it feel to be back? This is basically a homecoming fight.
It's good. It's good. I think from what I know, a lot, some people have bought tickets, but I think a lot of people are waiting until February. I think a lot of people are waiting for the tax returns. But yeah, I'm expecting to have a good crowd, a good amount of people. So I know a lot of clients, a lot of people I train and help out. They already bought floor tickets, so it's gonna be great. I think having a local fight, especially at this stage of my career, I think it's important again just to revive people, revive myself, revive my fans, and then also it's good for the Bay Area. Boxing hasn't been back here in a while, so
Yeah,
it'll just shake up everything and wake them up. And from what I heard, they're gonna have another show in June as well. So if that happens and that goes down, that'll be great. Um, so yeah, just expecting the best performance. I'm a co-main event, so I was pretty excited about that. And then yeah, just looking to put on the show.
nice. And then what can you tell us about your next opponent, Christian Ruben Mino?
Oh yeah, he's a tough guy. Hey, that guy's game. You got to look at his knockouts. I believe he has 17 knockouts out of like 25 wins.
Well,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he packs a punch. He comes to fight. He definitely comes confident. The first rounds. He's always there to fight. I just think I'm gonna have to establish myself and let him know it's not gonna be the type of fight he wants it to be. I'm expecting. I'm expecting to beat him. I know I'm gonna beat him. I'm evaluating my performance on how I beat him. I would love, my dad called me the other day, sent me a message, and he's expecting me to win this fight within the first. He doesn't. He doesn't expect it to go past 6 rounds. Um, if he said if you do win by decision, you have some things to think about, but this is the type of fight you need to beat and you need to win. So my dad's very realistic with me too. He told me you're at a point in your professional career, just like you were an amateur, where you just need to listen to your coach, do your job, and perform. So my dad's expecting me to win this fight. Uh, my dad's not gonna be able to make it to the fight because he has some like medical issues he's dealing with.
mhm,
But he sent me a message like, hey, like he's expecting me to win this fight convincingly. So well, I mean, we're training hard. I'm not overlooking the guy. I know he's everyone in boxing with those 8-ounce gloves has a chance. So one
right.
punch can change anything. So yeah, he's tough, aggressive, comes to fight, and everyone can expect like a fight. Like the guy doesn't shy down. It comes to win. So it should be exciting.
We're all looking forward to it. And a question here from K Rod says a question for Andy. It says if boxing was in your full control, minus promoters slash corrupt actors that hold fighters back in the sport, would you have more freedom to fight more to not worry about wins slash losses?
I think it's not about that. The thing is, it's not about the promoters or managers kind of. Oh yeah, that's good. You left the question.
Hmm.
Holding us back. I think it's the matter. I think the issue here too always becomes about like the promoters don't want to pay, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
if I could fight every 2 months, I would fight every 2 months. The promoters gonna be like, oh hell no, we're not paying that guy every 2 months. Like so that's what it comes to too. Once you start making, I think for all the top fighters, like all the big fighters, like even Shakur, even all the top guys, Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, it comes to they fight, but the reason why they don't fight every 2-3 months is because who's gonna pay them that money like every 2-3 months? So
Yeah.
they kind of
Do,
wait it
do
out.
they have
Have 'em
minimums at that point? Like when you reach a certain level, you got a minimum.
You do have minimums when you're coming up, especially when you sign with Top Rank and whatnot. You have
Mm-hmm.
minimums, which is why you're fighting like every 3 months. But as soon as you reach a breaking point and you're starting to make the over 50, they start getting kind of weird and want to do every 5 months. And they start getting like they're very selective on the matchups as far as okay, we're gonna put Andy to fight now, but we got to put this guy to fight this guy and make it a good fight. So they're trying to get their dollar worth too for the fight. They're not
Gotcha.
trying to pay you like, yeah, they're not trying to pay you 50 to get like a nobody fight. They're trying to pay you 50, but now they're gonna match you up with someone that's just as good. Yeah.
Yeah, that would
And
make
I think
sense.
TV has a lot to do with that. But I really think if it was in my control, I would love to fight every 3 months just to be active, relevant, busy. Um, but I guess once you're fighting 8 to 10 rounds too, it changes because obviously now you're going into longer fights, longer trainings, and then when you get cut, you obviously got to take time off. You got to heal up, so it's a whole different ballgame. Um, I don't think I don't think it's a good idea to fight every 2 to 3 months if you're fighting world title fights. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, nah. So you gotta be smart about it too for the longevity of your career. I think as an 8 round fighter, like this fight is 8 rounds. Yeah, I think I should fight 4 months, 3 months from now. Why? If everything is okay, if I don't get cut, you know. But yeah, I think at a world class level, fighting 12 rounds, I can see why they fight every 5 to 6 months is because so much in training, preparation, you know. Then it's a hard, rugged fight. Um, and yeah, it's just a different level.
Yeah, he says, yeah, he said, I figured I'd ask that. I think it's better to be more active regardless of proportional restrictions. Yeah, I mean, of course, if you're more
Yeah,
active,
definitely.
you stay sharp. And
Yeah, so now that I'm not with a promoter, I do plan to fight in February. Our plan is to fight in June, and then by the end of the year, do something. But yeah, no, definitely, activity is key. I think the ring light and being under there is very important for anyone.
yeah, absolutely. And then speaking of preparation, Andy, do you watch a lot of tape on your opponent, or do you kind of mostly focus on improving your skill set?
I watched a fight that my coach had mentioned to me when he was fighting someone. I had watched that fight. But I let my coach do a lot of it. He tends to do a lot of the studying, a lot of the looking at. But I've watched a fight of his. But my coach has pretty much came up with the game plan, came up with the punches we're specifically practicing for this opponent, specifically what we're gonna need to be throwing, what we're gonna need to be doing. And to be honest, I can't argue with this guy. I mean, not that I argue with any coach, but he really goes down to the technique where this is not a coach that just, is a coach and holds mitts for me. He really dissects my opponent and this is what we're doing. This is what we're training for. He likes to do this, so we're gonna need to start doing this and this. And basically, he's been just implementing that in my training over and over every day. How low I gotta be, how I gotta come back after he does this or that. So it's just very technical.
Hmm.
Um, I think my coach is very technical when it comes to these high level fights, and he has a lot of experience now in the game, especially with me. So yeah, my coach does do a lot of the studying, the film and whatnot for sure, way more than me.
That's awesome. It's all going to pay dividends on February 18th. That's for sure. And it says, Andy, can we get another Mexico versus Puerto Rico matchup? You and Nova would be lit.
Oh, I would love to fight Nova. It's just but here we go again. The thing that now when Nova's with Top Rank, I don't know how they would want that. Um, I don't even know if Top Rank would want to even put me on, knowing I used to be with them. So it all goes down to that. That's the whole thing about the promotional stuff and whatnot. I think if I did fight another fight, some kind of big fight, I definitely think it's not going to be with Top Rank anymore, just because I fought on their platform so many times. I'm just ready to regrow and showcase my skills elsewhere and make something happen elsewhere. But but I really appreciate everything they've done for me. They made my career. I am who I am because of them. I'm very thankful for the matchmakers, everyone that I've been associated with when I was with them. But I think it's kind of I start my own thing, start my own career, my own path with Angel Cordon, and just move on. We got to move on too with the platform and whatnot.
Yeah, yep. I could definitely respect that. Andy, who's been the hardest puncher you've been in the ring with, either in sparring or in a pro fight?
Oh, that's a good one. Let's see. The pro fights. Uh, I gotta say that this last fight I took some shots from LeBron. He was very precise. His timing was pretty good. He was very precise. Maybe because it's more relevant. I just fought him, but Venado Alberto Luis Lopez. He hit very hard too. He was an awkward puncher. The way he jumped in. I would say both of them. I would say
Both of them.
both of them were the punchers, the good punchers. I think LeBron's was more his timing and his accuracy. They made it, a hard punch. Not that he was the hardest puncher, but I think his timing and his accuracy was what made his shot, powerful. And I think Venado was his awkwardness, the way he would jump in and just land a punch. I think that's what gives him a little bit of power. But the
Hmm.
thing with Luis, he does fatigue and get tired towards the end of his fights. And that's what I was able to figure out towards the end. But I would say, yeah, my professional career, I would say them too. Albert Bell wasn't the strongest puncher. John O'Carroll had the softest hands too. Um, yeah, I would say them too. In
Awesome.
sparring, that's a hard question. I've sparred a lot of good top names. I've sparred a lot of top names. I've sparred everyone from Carlos Valderas, Devin Haney. I've been in there with some top names. Back in the day, I was in there with Jesse Vargas. I was in there with a lot of good fighters. So it's hard to think back as far as in sparring. I was in there with Robert Guerrero.
Oh
Uh,
man, yeah.
yeah,
Some
so
some
it's hard. Even young prospects, they hit hard. I've been in there with. So um, I mean, again, it's sparring though. I think the fight's totally different. But I would say in my professional career, I would say Venado and Henry LeBron for sure. Both of them.
definitely. And then Andy, who was your favorite boxer growing up?
Oscar de la Hoya, Eric Morales, and I answer quickly because it's easy because these were the
Like,
guys that started me. Oscar de la Hoya. I don't know about now, but before, yeah, he was. So Oscar
yeah,
de la Hoya, back in the day, Oscar de la Hoya was a G. Eric Morales always, and then Marco Antonio Barrera. Even though Pacquiao wasn't, so I was really like a big fan of the Mexican fighters. Even though Pacquiao wasn't, I would respect him and be like, damn, like this guy's beating all the Mexicans. And then Marquez, I did like Marquez too. I think that was the circle of fighters. I think as far as looking back, even though I wasn't growing up, but looking back when I first got into boxing, who I really look up to was Sugar Ray Leonard. I was always studying a lot of
mm,
his tape. Sugar Ray Leonard. I don't care whether he lost some of the fights or whatever, but I just loved his speed, his jab, and his shoe shine when he shoe shine fighters and followed up with the left hook. But I really like Sugar Ray. Sugar Ray Leonard was like my top fighter, along with Oscar De La Hoya. I think it was them too because of their jabs. My
oh
dad,
yeah,
I have a really, and that's why I have a really good jab. Was I really study them as fighters and always try to perfect my jab. So I have a really good jab, and I have a really good jab because I always looked at them, studied them, and saw the importance of how they use the jab. They're
yeah. I
just
mean,
really fun fighters to watch.
yeah, they're both fun fighters to watch, and yeah, the jab sets up everything else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I remember Sugar Ray Leonard's fight versus um, Marvin Hagler. That was a bad fight. That
Ah,
was,
classic.
and I just loved his shoe shine every time he flurried, and and stole the round. Like maybe stole the round. It's just cool to watch. I just liked his speed and his excitement.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a comment here from L Dub Boxing, just saying, "What's good? What's good, L Dub?"
Oh, what's good, man? How you doing?
Next question for you, Andy. In today's boxing landscape, who do you consider to be the number one pound for pound fighter?
It's a good question. Damn, it's a very great question.
Yeah, so a lot of names are definitely in the
Yeah, there's a
conversation.
lot of names. That's a good question. I would say, right. I know even from the heavyweights, it just depends which weight division you like more. But I would say the 135 to pound division right now is very very interesting. Now that Shakur moved up and he's there, man. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who I consider number one. I think there's a lot of fights that need to play out for me to consider number one because you always got two guys. Like for example, Terrence and Spence. We could say they're both number one, but they haven't fought. We could say um, yeah, it's a good fight.
Yeah,
Who's
even
second superior? Who's
better
the
be
superior
in
to the
Bivol,
fight?
right?
Yeah, and then Bivol, and then you got Benavides. Still, he's right there. Um, yeah, so I mean, I can't answer that, man. I feel like a lot of fighters need to fight this year. A lot of fights need to play out for sure to be able to consider who's who. Like even the Charlos. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, it's just yeah.
yeah. So hopefully
Even
at the end of the
this
year we
past
get those
week,
fights.
yeah, even this past weekend. What's the I think is a Russian fighter. He just fought this past weekend.
Oh, the Canadian Russian Arthur Beterbiev.
There you go. Versus I guess he wants to fight Bivol, right? So even that
Yeah,
fight right there, like that's a good fight that needs to play out. Um, yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say who's like the top one. I think Canelo, he's choosing smartly right now his opponents, but we saw what happened when he went in there with Bivol. Took a little more than he could chew, but he's a top fighter too. But I think the 135 division is going to be interesting now that Stevenson is there. Um, he's probably the number one in my eyes. I would
I,
say like at
I,
135. At
I
135, I
think
would
so
say he
too.
clears the division. Stevenson.
And there's so, and you said, like you said, 135 is loaded because just from the
Yeah, I
top.
think he's yeah, I think he's the best in that division though. If you're talking like number one pound for pound, and 135 is fucking Shakur Stevenson by far. He's
Okay.
not losing. Yeah, he's not losing. He's good.
All right, that kind of brings us to our next segment. Is where I'm going to ask you, three fights, either confirm or hypothetical, and I want you to let me know who you think's going to win. If it's a 50-50 fight, too close to call, then you can kind of
Got
say
it.
draw or pass. But we'll start with the first one. This one's actually confirmed. It's Rey Vargas moving up to challenge Oshiki Foster.
Oh, Sheik Foster. Yep, I was
Mhm.
actually. They offered him to fight me a couple times. But that's Ray Vargas. That's the Mexican guy, right? Yeah.
The Mexican guy.
But he's moving up, correct?
He's moving up. Yeah, his last fight was against Magsayo, the Filipino.
Yes. That's 50-50, but I'm a favor. Uh, I say that's a good. That's too close to call. I don't
Yeah,
want to say 'cause, Foster does have a loss, but the only thing is Ray Vargas is moving up, so it's just how's he going to carry the power? How's he going to deal with the hit? I would say 50-50. Too close to call. Not a lot of people don't even know them. Well, that's what's funny is a
hmm
lot of people don't follow them. Oshiko Foster and Ray Vargas. So that's a good fight for us boxing fans.
yeah,
It's a
for
good
real box
fight.
fans.
I think it's a good 50-50 fight. I think Ray Vargas has the advantage for experience, but I think Oshiko Foster's been campaigning at the weight. He's a naturally fitted for the weight, so it'll play a course. We have to see what happens. It's a good fight though.
Yeah, it's a good fight. Can we see how it plays out? And then the next one is completely headcanon, hasn't been rumored at all, but it would appease K Rod's Puerto Rico versus Mexico matchup. Who would win out of Oscar Valdez versus Henry LeBron?
Oh, nice. That's a bad fight. Oh shit. I like Valdez. Valdez is my boy, but LeBron's a good southpaw boxer. I think Valdez has problems fighting southpaws. Um, it's a little harder for him to fight. LeBron, in a way, he's a boxer, counterpuncher who's very smart and moves away, and that's kind of not suitable for Valdez. So,
Hmm.
not that I would want Henry LeBron to win. I mean, I like Valdez; he's my boy, but I just feel stylistically it would give him a lot of trouble. That fight would give him a lot of trouble just because Henry LeBron is very precise, very skillful, smart, doesn't get hit too much. I've been in there with him. It's not easy to hit him. He takes a punch well. And he would have to be chasing and looking for him just like he did Shakur Stevenson. It's just not suitable for him. So I would say it's kind of easy to, not easy, but it's just, I
Kind
feel
of
Henry
lean towards
LeBron would be
LeBron.
able to box him. Yeah.
Hmm. All right, and then the final matchup, who would win out of Shakur Stevenson versus Devin Haney?
Shakur Stevenson beats everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
I've been in there. I've been in there with Shakur. I've been in there with Haney. Um, Shakur is just the top guy at 135. I have him top guy at 130, 35, and even 140. He clears the division. After that, you might have him in fights. He might lose and whatever. But yeah, at 135, that kid is very full grown, strong, and very smart. His boxing is very good, very good, very good.
Absolutely. All right. Well, coming back to you, Andy, I want to congratulate you on your YouTube channel. Saw that that's not monetized. You did that in basically like 2.5 months. So like I said, congratulations. Can you
Yeah,
tell us
thank
about your YouTube channel? Kind of what inspired you to start it, and what can people expect from that YouTube channel?
Oh yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, my YouTube channel is called Into the Trenches. This is a YouTube channel where I'm not only sharing like pieces of my journey, my story, kind of the fights that I've had in the past. I'm also going to be sharing like boxing tip, boxing education, just giving pointers to fighters of things to do, things not to do, things that I've experienced. I'm also going to be putting up various certain interviews. I know I have a couple with people in the sport that I've had the honor of meeting and getting to know. People can expect a lot from the channel as far as even me trying different sports and just getting it on film, seeing how I do. But it's cool, man. I really started the channel just to get things going for myself and really share a part of my life as a boxer that not anybody gets to see. I am in the process of right now, leading up to this February 18th fight. We have a documentary going on of all my behind the scenes leading up to this fight, to the weigh-ins and the actual fight. It will be pretty much uploaded after the fight, as far as a full documentary of my training camp, what I've been going through, how training has been looking behind the scenes. So people could expect a lot. I do plan to interview a lot more fighters. Um, I'm very close with Andy Ruiz Jr., so I'm hoping to hit him up very soon, get that interview on my channel. It is different though. It's not just that I'm gonna be interviewing fighters, asking them kind of like, what's the next fight? How's training camp going? I think a lot of people know those questions about fighters. I want to dig deeper into asking these professional fighters personal questions about their career and their life and how was it they got here and got there and that's the thing, being in the sport, it allows me to not have any concern to ask these questions. Just strictly
Hmm.
people want to know, and like people haven't asked and haven't heard. So they could expect a lot from the channel, entertainment, behind the scenes, learning, but for sure all boxing related, boxing content.
I mean, that's great to hear. It's definitely an untapped market, because us boxing fans, we want to hear firsthand from you guys, like all the behind the
Exactly.
scenes stuff leading up to fights. So, wish you much continued success on the channel.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. I honestly, more boxers should kind of take advantage. I think as
Mm-hmm.
far as in their careers and shares that you're right that people want to know. I think people don't hear enough. They all see the lead up to the fight, training camp, whatnot, but we want to see what happens. What else? What's
Yeah.
going on? So it's pretty cool.
Yep. And then outside of boxing, whether it's in the ring or now creating content for YouTube, what are some of your other interests and hobbies?
Interest in hobbies is just now it's just making content, man, and coming up with ideas. So, like, yeah, coming up with ideas, brainstorming. I am doing fight predictions for the fights that are coming up. Uh, just all the big fights, Caleb Plant, Benavides. I'm doing fight predictions for Jose Pedraza, Arnold Barboza. So I'm actually keeping tabs on which ones I got right. So I want to see my analysis as far as how good are my predictions and am I right or wrong. I know the last one I gave about Javante Davis, I was right on that one. I felt power was going to play a big factor, and sure enough, that happened. He had too much power over Garcia. But yeah, man. Um, yeah, outside of boxing, it's just I would say I do a lot of commuting on the road for training. I drive 2 hours to train and then 2 hours back. So a lot of my downtime when I have downtime is just me resting, me relaxing here at home. Um, but yeah, it's just a very, very busy schedule I have, even with my new trainer having me on a strict routine that I have to follow. So it's been good. It's been tough. So I would say just resting and spending time with my wife. Um, I definitely enjoy eating food and I love trying new places. So that's like the number one thing I do after my fights is try these new places. I get all these food trending videos on my Instagram. And I'll bookmark them and save them and go try them out later.
Yeah, a lot of good spots in the Bay Area for sure, for sure.
Uh,
Final question I got for you, Andy, is not really a question, more so kind of like giving you the floor. What's something you want to say to your fans and supporters that are watching this interview?
Oh, I want to say thank you guys. Appreciate your time. Thanks to Mo Boxing More Problem for having me, Jose. And I just want to thank everybody for supporting me on my career. I know I've had some ups, some downs, but I think I really appreciate the ones that are still here supporting, and it really means a lot if you're still here supporting my career. I'm expecting this to be a big year with Angel Cordon. I plan to restart my career this fight moving forward and end my career with Angel Cordon. So I'll definitely be making some wise decisions with him. And yeah, everybody, please go buy tickets February 18th. I know everybody's waiting to the last minute. I know floor ticket seats are going as of right now, but I'm expecting to see everyone there. And it's going to be a great night of boxing back in the Bay Area. Um, this event will not be televised, so if you're waiting to catch a live stream or something, you're gonna miss it. So just grab your tickets, even if it's a cheap ticket. You know how it works in the event. You can buy a cheap ticket and see if you can move down. So,
Uh-huh.
but anyways, guys, appreciate your support and hope to see you at the fights.
Awesome. And everybody follow Andy on Instagram. It's at El Tiburon Vences 1. So you can stay up to date on all his boxing career updates. And Andy, thank
YouTube
you so much for your
channel,
time.
YouTube channel into the trenches, guys.
YouTube
Yeah,
channel Into the Trenches, help that channel keep on growing. And Andy, thank you so much for your time. We're looking forward to seeing you on February 18th. I plan to be there in person, and just like your
oh,
dad, I think you're gonna get the KOs.
oh man, I gotta get the stoppage or the KO. My dad's expecting that. No pressure, just gonna be smart in there and do what my coach tells me. But I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
No problem. Appreciate your time. Have a good evening, Andy.
You too. Hey, if you
Uh,
could also, if you could, whatever you post, just tag me. I'll repost it.
Absolutely, yeah. Actually, while I have you, once you repost that recent video you did on the February 18th fight, if it's cool with you, I think it was kind of like a little trailer.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But whenever you post segments of this interview, just once you have the link on YouTube, just let me know. That way, I'll attach the link so people can
I
click
got
to it.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll send you a link right now as soon as we wrap up. All right,
All right,
thank you,
Jose.
Andy.
Hell
All
yeah.
right, talk
Peace
to you
out.
later. All right,
Okay,
peace.
bro. Thank you.